second of our It's Never Been a Better Time to Be a Health Coach webinars. So we sold out last time, and we've got quite a good number of you have registered for this evening's event. So for those of you who've been actually able to join us in the flesh, as it were, or I suppose that's not quite the right word, but anyway, here this evening live, welcome and thank you for making the time to join us. Please put questions in the chat, and we'll all be monitoring the chat this evening, and we will come to your questions towards the end of the webinar. It's easier for us if we can go through, but please do pop your questions in at any time and we'll pick them up and come to them towards the end. I first of all would let me actually introduce my colleagues first of all. So Faye, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening and welcome everybody. Lovely to be with you here tonight or at whatever time it is in your location. I'm Faye Hall and I'm Director of Professional Standards and Membership Development, and really looking forward to exploring with you why this is just the best time to be a health coach tonight.
Okay. Ines, you're determined to be anonymous here. This is Ines Kerr, everybody.
Hello, my name is Ines and I'm the Business Development and Innovations Director at UKI HCA, and if you were to become a member, I would look forward in supporting you in that enterprise. So welcome this evening.
Thank you. And I'm Isabella Natrins. I'm the Chief Executive, and I'm very proud to be working with my two colleagues and our wonderful team who every single day they pitch up and go above and beyond. So it's with pleasure that we will tell you about why we think there's never been a better time to be a health coach. So I'm going to screen share now. And I'm going to enable the content so that we've got a short video for you to look at, and we'll start the presentation. So I know it's not the 17th of January 2024 at 7:30, but we are rerunning the slideshow that we ran a couple of weeks ago for you here this evening. So forgive us for that. I didn't know how to create a new Canva to replace this one, so I'm sure you'll bear with us. So we are the UK and International Health Coaching Association. We were established in 2018 as the first professional self-regulating body for health, wellness and well-being coaches in the world. Now, those of you who know a little bit about health coaching will know that it's not a regulated industry, and it is unlikely to ever be one, certainly not in the UK. Things may change, but at the moment there are no plans to introduce regulation by the powers that be, so to speak, at the centre of the NHS and Department of Health. So it's very important for us to continue the high standards that we've set for the way that we regulate our industry within the UK, and those who are our members internationally are expected to support and comply with the regulations, the very high standards that we put out there for you. So our vision is very simple. We want to see a self-empowered population managing their health and well-being to thrive in life. Our mission: what are we doing? We are actively working to see a health coach in every public and private healthcare setting, in education, in workplaces, and in communities. In short, healthy, happy people thriving in life, and health coaches everywhere in every context supporting them to get there and stay there. So as I've said, we were established in 2018 as a non-profit. We are self-regulating. Faye will talk a little bit more about our scope of practice, which we introduced in 2020, which is being reviewed this year and updated and clarified. Always a big issue in this industry, in this discipline. What is the health coaching scope of practice? And Faye is working very hard to make that as clear as it can possibly be. The CPD requirement was introduced in 22, mentoring in 23, and this year we're working hard on introducing supervision. We stand on 3 very strong pillars: professionalism, community, and enterprise, which we will be talking to you about in much more detail just in a moment. The professionalism's all about robust approval processes for health coaching, education and training, for CPD approval. This is in the UK and internationally. So our schools are within the UK and they're also international. We're very excited to ensnare an increasing number of international providers and countries, for that matter, who are all very appreciative of the work that we've done, all of us have done, and all of our health coaches have achieved in the UK. It's all about professional membership and the criteria that we ask our members to uphold. It's all about networking and relationships, which Ines will be talking about in a little while. And it's all about collaborations, which are global, which I'll be talking about in a little while. We're very proud to say that our membership is growing very quickly now. Our full members who come from UK and international approved health coaching, education and training programs, and through a portfolio route, which Faye will explain a little bit more about in a while, from our students in training, and of course from our affiliates. And for those of you who are here this evening, I am just editing a guide for our affiliate members. So you will be receiving that shortly. And those of you who register an interest will be receiving a guide in, I should say, in the next week or 2. So labels, before we go any further, health coaching. Now you will have heard of health coaching, health and wellness coaching, health and well-being coaching, wellness coaching, well-being coaching, and dizzyingly, there is now medical health coaching. So what does it all mean? Well, for us, it is all health coaching. We don't want to make a distinction because our model is whole health coaching, and we need to unpack what we mean by those expressions. What is health coaching? What do we mean by health? And what do we mean by coaching? So the World Health Organization has a definition of health, which you can read there. And I'll let you read that for a moment. So they talk about a complete physical, mental and social well-being, a state of complete health, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And we don't dislike this definition, but we don't feel it's sufficient. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient. So we, in 2021, when Faye and her team launched the standards, did a lot of work on talking to a large number of stakeholders to say, well, what do we mean by health in this context? What is the health in health coaching? Well, for us, it's health is a state of resilience, and these words picked out in the gold font are particularly important. It is a state of resilience. It's positive gain. It results from an individual's ability to adapt to challenges every day in every way. We are exposed to challenges in the totality of our environment. And our environment is a whole environment. It's our biology, our psychology, our emotional state, our social environments, our existential state of being, and of course our spiritual environment. And it's throughout our lifetime. So we don't see it as that complete, we see it as a dynamic continuum. It's uniquely individual and it's a whole health. It travels with us from cradle to grave. It's not an endpoint, it's a journey. So I'll ask Faye now to talk about what is our approach. So Faye, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Isabella. So to continue the unpacking then and expand on Isabella's excellent introduction, coaching, a whole health coaching approach. So what is this, and where can we really begin with understanding this and understanding what it is and what it's not? So health coaching does draw on the established coaching framework. So I noticed someone mentioned in the chat, do we recognize ICF accredited training? And certainly that traditional coaching training is very much part of the coaching framework that we recognize and build on when we talk about the health coaching professional. So we apply this coaching-led approach, but within a very specific context that focuses on positive whole health outcomes for the individual. That's a whole person approach, a whole health approach, and a whole life approach. It's really about more, though, we build on that coaching approach and we talk about how we can integrate health information or health education into that space. And we understand health coaching to be really the health coach, when delivering health coaching, to be really working in a particular context where they will need a very broad, very large sort of understanding of the health space in which that person, that human experience is operating. So what might they be facing in terms of their health experience? On the level of their engagement with healthcare, their health literacy, and from the whole health perspective. So what are the health behaviours they do or don't do? What are the beliefs, identity, values, and spirituality that they bring to their health experience? It also acknowledges the unique lived experience of each person, and it's very much focused on the evidence base. So it draws on theories of behaviour change, tools such as motivational interviewing, evidence from bodies of work such as positive psychology, in addition to the traditional coaching framework that we may all be familiar with. It particularly draws on the concept of self-efficacy and goal setting. So it's really about the person's choice, the person's outcome, and that's the framework for all the work. Even when we're integrating education and information, we're always focused on what the person really wants to achieve for themselves. Thanks, Isabella. So coaching, ICF will define that as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process, emphasising that creativity. So there is an art and a skill to the coaching process. And this helps people to maximise their personal and professional potential. So we're helping people here to maximise their whole health potential. The Association of Coaching talks about a collaborative, solution-focused, results-orientated systemic process in which the coach facilitates the enhancement of work performance, life experience, self-directed learning, and personal growth of the coachee. And this is all relevant to health coaching, but we build on these definitions and concepts in what we do. Thanks, Isabella. So there are existing definitions of health coaching. The NHS in 2020, the National Board for Health and Wellbeing Coaching, you may be familiar with. There's, as well as our definition, there's the Health Coaching Association in Australia and New Zealand, HCANSA, and there is an evidence base and other research that brings together definitions. And we support all these different definitions and agree with the underlying concepts behind them, but we build on them in our definition of health coaching. And if you're interested in reading more, on our website, you will see a paper which outlines how we came to our definition of health coaching, the rationale behind it, and it is called Towards a Definition. So you may like to look that up later if it's of interest. Thanks, Isabella.
Yeah, so anybody who is interested in that, if you look on our website under the ecosystem tab, you'll find it there.
Yeah. You'll need to scroll down a fair way. It's second or third tab from the bottom, I believe there. So our definition, the UKI HCA's definition of health and wellness coaching, a client-led collaborative process that aims to promote self-management and self-empowerment, bringing in the health aspect here. So we're really equipping individuals to be able to adapt. There's this concept of adaptation and resilience, to be able to adapt positively to their internal, how they are inside, thoughts, emotions, feeling, responses, and their external environment, how the physical, emotional, cognitive whole person interacts with their environment, the food, sleep, and relationships, social situations, and of course the broader social and cultural healthscape. And we say it creates a state of resilience through the pursuit of activities and a lifestyle that cultivates their whole health continuum. So going back there to this idea of health being a process, a continuum, a journey, and not an end result, or an ultimate concept that we're heading for, but something that we're working in progress every day, all day. Thank you, Isabella. So here is an illustration of what's actually happening in a whole health coaching approach. What are we actually doing with our clients? How are we working? What's involved in that artful and beautiful conversation that is a health coaching conversation? So all of these aspects come between and flow between the coachee and the coach. So we do take a coaching approach, but we incorporate the concept of adaptation and resilience, wellness, well-being, and whole health, remembering that a person may require or request an intervention at any one of the whole health levels, whether that's the physical, biological, social, emotional, cognitive, environmental space, and we're ready to have that conversation with our clients. We talk about vision and values, what's really important to the client, what's really important to that person, and how can we bring purpose and meaning to a behavior change process. So we all often have a good idea of what we want to do, what might help us, but the motivation to do that and make that change and put the how into practice is often very much enhanced if we can connect to our purpose and meaning in life. What's important to us? Why do we want our health? What are we going to get from that? And what's it going to allow us to do or be in our lives? It's rarely just about the food or the sleep or the exercise. And how can we use our strengths? How can we use a person's strengths? Help them to recognize that they have strengths. And how can we use those to help them change and evolve and grow and feel better and do better? And of course, there's challenge, choice, and change. Any coaching process involves a new perspective, involves the coach taking responsibility for assisting and facilitating the client to make new choices, to make change happen based on the goals that they'd like to achieve. And at the heart of the health coaching approach is, of course, the idea of lifestyle. We now know that how we behave, what we do, how we live has a direct impact on our health and how we feel at all levels. And it's the behaviors, the things we choose to do or not do on a daily basis that will help us to produce the health outcomes we're looking for. So all of this richness is what we believe is incorporated into a health coaching, a whole health coaching approach. Thank you very much, Isabella. And if you want a simple, easy way to understand what health coaching is, we present to you the three-legged stool. Now, take a photo of this with your mind now, and remember this, because I think it's one of the most wonderful explanations of a quick and easy way to describe what a health coach might do and how this transformation happens. So the healthcare professional, the expert, will have sat down with your client or with your potential client and worked out the what. Along with the client, they will be delivering the expert advice, the what's going to help that person really achieve the changes they want. The client or patient is obviously key in the process. So the client is deciding on their future, looking for their own solutions and resources, and the client is implementing the what, wanting to make those changes. So where does the coach come in? The coach is the how. How do we make that happen with the client? How do we facilitate the transformation? You've got the information, you've got the expert advice, you want to make a change. How is that going to happen? And here's where the health coaching process really comes to life. So thank you, Isabella. It's very useful to think about what health coaching is not, as well as what it is. It is worth remembering. It is not the giving of expert advice. Clear boundary here. Health coaches are coaching experts. They understand the art of coaching. They also understand the health space on a very broad level. And they also know how to integrate the signposting or the delivery of information or education through the lens of a coaching approach. It's not a directive process. It is not telling your client what to do or not to do, and it is certainly not a clinical or therapeutic intervention. It is definitely not what the coach thinks the client-patient needs. So get ourselves out of the way. We're all very good at telling other people what to do, but this is not what a health coach is. Thanks, Isabella. Health coaching is based on pure and simply what the health coach hears the client patient wants to change. Thank you very much. Thanks, Isabella. So health coaching then, bringing the concept of health and the concept of coaching together. It's a whole person, whole health, whole life approach. It's supporting the maintenance of a person's health and well-being and is an excellent adjunct to treating and preventing ill health. It sits really at the heart of a person's healthcare experience. It supports personalised care, supported self-management, and naturally partners hand in glove with lifestyle, functional and integrative medicine. The paradigm of health coaching is an emerging global paradigm shifting, exciting new profession, and we're delighted you're all here this evening wanting to know more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye. So you've heard a very broad brush overview of what health coaching is and what it's not, and the kinds of processes that are involved in that. Faye will embellish some of that as we move on through the webinar, but I'd just like to introduce really the totality, an overview of the totality of what we do. So prepare to be amazed, friends that have joined us here this evening. So Faye, would you like to explain about your pillar?
Yeah, thank you very much, Isabella. So given hopefully you're feeling energized, excited, encouraged at the concept of this really exciting new evolving profession of health coaching, which has so much potential to transform individual experiences of health and healthcare systems. What are we doing, the UKI HCA? And we have one of our foundations, core foundations, pillars, or we could call it a value if you like, is professionalism. And that's a key part of the role I have here at the UKI HCA is to support the implementation of professionalism. And we do that in a number of different ways. Professionalism in general is so important, particularly for the self-regulated industry, self-regulated profession as we are. It gives us the way to really maintain standards, quality assurance, safety, clarity, boundaries, effective practice. And we do that practically in a number of ways. So first of all, we have really clear, robust, high standards for the training of health coaches. So our education and training standards are what all of our approved courses have to meet in order to be on our approved course list. So you will all probably, if you're interested in health coaching, have done some Googling, and you may well have seen that there are all sorts of weird and wacky and wonderful opportunities to do a 2-day course, a 5-minute this here or there, or join, you know, find a health coach on Instagram that's offering all sorts of questionable approaches. So it's really important that we're all clear on what health coaching is, what a health coach does, and the best way we can do that is having clear standards for education and training. What do you need to study? What do you need to learn? What do you need to do in order to have a good foundational training to deliver on the ground as a health coach? And we're really proud of our robust approval process, and we're really proud of all the training courses and training providers that have been ready and willing to meet those standards. And there are now 10, we're into double figures on our website. Some of you I see from the chat are already studying with such said courses. And if you're thinking of becoming a health coach, I urge you to go to our list of approved training courses and select from there, because you will have a quality stamp automatically in place there, knowing that you're really taking a course that's top of its game internationally. We touched on scope of practice earlier. Scope of practice is a really important place to focus our attention, and we've taken time to develop our scope of practice. It's our weapon, it's our asset, it's what makes us great health coaches, it's what defines us from other professions. It provides clarity, it provides a safe space to work, it helps to ensure that public expectations of what a health coach is and is not are clearly down in black and white for everyone to understand. Employers of health coaches need to know what our scope of practice is so that they can understand how our role could be supportive and be implemented into organisations. So we're very clear on our scope of practice. You can see our current scope of practice on our website, and we are also reviewing that scope of practice and offering guidance going forward to health coaches, employers and all stakeholders regards how to interpret that scope of practice, how to put it into practice on the ground in an effective, safe way as a health coach. Any one of you who is or an existing professional will know that supervision and mentoring is very important. If you have a background in any other profession, you'll probably be used to having to maintain your CPD as a requirement and engage in supervision, reflective practice, so that you can continue to be excellent in your delivery of the work that you do. And also in professionalism, we are interested in business development and how to actually be a profession. So when we talk about self-regulating industries, that's us, you know, we are the self, we are the individuals. We have to learn how to be professional in our daily behaviors, in our approaches, and we need to know how to set up a business in a professional manner. So that's really the key part of what we do, and that foundational pillar that of the UKI HCA is really at the heart of all we do. It's the building block for which everything else it grows from and is able to grow from in order to pursue and support the health coaching industry going forward.
Thank you, Faye. That was a great summary. Faye will come back to a few of the concepts that she's talked through with you just now, but I would just like to reinforce that point that Faye has made right at the end, that it is only our professionalism which speaks to the world, because if we don't maintain that, if we don't maintain our standards, our scope of practice, and vigorously, if you will, in the best possible way, police those, then nothing else we do will count for anything. So we can't stress enough that this is a key requirement for this professional body, is that we've not only created those standards, but we maintain them and police them and develop them in line with how the industry itself is developing. So thanks, Faye. Ines, talk about community.
So community, well, if professionalism is the foundation, the building blocks, the keystone, the pillar, then the community is the heart and soul of what we do. And it's the people facing element. So who is in the community? Well, the community is made up of the team at UK IHCA that live and breathe supporting health coaching. And the people that we're supporting are a range of people who become members. So it's an association by membership. And the traditional route to membership would be as a student of one of the aforementioned approved training courses. And as you graduate from as a student from one of those approved courses, then you can attain the status of an approved full member of UK IHCA, at which point you can practice and display the approved member logo. In fact, we would encourage that you splash it everywhere you possibly can and spread the message. But we're equally have an open door to what we call adjunct. So these people may be health coaches, they may be in a clinical practice, they may be in other lifestyle and integrative health practices, but not specifically health coaching. But they may have an interest in health coaching, or they may understand the benefit that health coaching might bring to their practice and have aspirations to attain the full member status. And these are affiliate members and increasingly are portfolio group members. So for those who are affiliates or other adjuncts who definitely want to achieve the status of an approved full member, we invite those individuals to submit to the portfolio route, where we match their often considerable expertise, qualifications, knowledge and skills against the standards that Faye's been talking about. And if they meet the standard, then you will attain the full approved member status. Or you may get a provisional approval, which means there's a small gap to fill, and we'll direct you to the signposting. So if those are the people that make up the community, how is that community engendered? Well, that's in everything that we do to support our health coaches, the majority of whom are sole traders and self-employed. And I certainly know from my own personal experience, as many of you probably will do, that being self-employed, while it offers much flexibility, it also can be a very lonely place to be. So we are very much aware of that. We work very hard to make our members feel that they are part of the community. We kind of put our arms around our members from day one. We have a fabulous member administration and services team that will help our members every step of the way. And we have a whole range of events. So from the basic receiving newsletters to inform you of what's going on and events that are coming up, through to the webinars and events that will help you to progress your CPD and professional practice. Members forums where members can meet each other as well as members of the team and exchange ideas, experience, views, ask questions, feel supported. We have a Facebook group, which is a networking forum where, again, you can ask questions and offer support. And we attend live events, which actually Isabella's going to talk more about under enterprise, but we secure benefits in the way of discounts to many of the conferences and events that go on throughout a year. And we invite you to come and see us there, many of which we attend as exhibitors or as delegates. And we always look forward to seeing our members face to face in those events. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ines. Well, if professionalism is our foundational pillar and community is our heart and soul, then I would suggest that enterprise is the spearhead that takes us forward into the world. And there's a saying, early to bed, early to rise, ain't no good unless you advertise. So for me, my raison d'etre as chief exec and head of communications is to do just that. My job is to advertise what we do, how we do it, how well we do it, who we do it with, to as many people as I can entice and excite. And that is a growing number, I'm so pleased to say. So under the enterprise pillar, you'll see lobbying there in capitals. We'll talk about that later. Ines will be talking about our white paper that we've recently published, which I hope you've all downloaded. If not, there are links to enable you to do that. But enterprise is all about collaborations across this industry, globally and nationally, across sectors. In the white paper, those of you that have read it and those of you who I hope will read it soon will note that we are now talking about collaborations with every sector in this country that has a vested interest in improving the health of individuals and of the population. Health coaching is at the centre of every single one of those relationships. So this idea, which we've always held dear and always put our foot forward, saying we want to hold hands and join up the thinking, step out of silos and work together, has never been more important. And that's one of the reasons why we did write the white paper. So cross-sector and cross-industry collaborations and partnerships are hugely important, and we spent a lot of time. Ines is a huge advocate of that and a supporter of that, and Faye in her world of education and professionalism. So we all do our bit towards this, but my role really is to go out there and say, who can we speak with? Who can we talk to? How can I bring them back? How can I introduce them to Faye and to Ines to do their best work? So lobbying is on the agenda this coming year. We've got an election coming up. The white paper's timed nicely. I've got a plan for another piece of work, which I haven't shared with colleagues yet, which will support what we're asking for from any new government, whoever they may be. Job opportunities clearly are essential. So it's no good having this 950 odd highly trained, skilled coaches if they can't get jobs. So we take very seriously the creation of job opportunities, which we'll come to in a little while and explain a little bit more about that. But job opportunities, we are always talking to anybody who we can entice onto our Zoom screen and talking to them about employing qualified health coaches, talking to them about the benefits of doing that. More and more employers are coming to us now and saying, can you help us? Can you help us make sure that when we employ a health coach, we know who we're getting and where they're coming from? And we are even doing that now for other countries in Europe, and even Singapore are coming to us as a global collaboration, really, because they recognise the value and the quality of UK health coaches. Of course, a big part of that work is raising the public's awareness of what health coaching is. And we have campaigns through social media, through those platforms, which continuously talk about why it is that you should consider using a health coach. And indeed, our Find Your Healthy programme, which is, I think it's the 16th to the 23rd of March, Find Your Healthy Week, is all about raising the public's awareness for the whole discipline and the value and the power of health coaching to make a difference in their own lives. And part of my job really is to spread the word about what we're doing and why and where through our ecosystem news. So on our website, on on the newsroom tab, you'll find the ecosystem updates, which positions Health Coach in the wider ecosystem. So please do read those. If you sign up to our newsletter, you'll get these automatically, and we communicate vigorously through really interesting newsletters, always focusing on something different and sharing all the great news and the knowledge with you all. So Faye, would you like to continue your description of what we mean by building professionalism?
Yes, and I'll go back to the point that I made at the end of my introduction, that you reiterated, Isabella, and that is, we're all in this together. The concept of professionalism is about you. You're all either on or considering a new chapter in your careers and lives by considering a health coaching qualification or training, or maybe you've just graduated. Well, the new chapter is also about the building of a profession, and we are all in this together. It's not an established profession, it's not well recognized, and so professionalism is the responsibility of all of us to self-regulate ourselves and the profession together. So at the leading edge of work in setting robust standards is us as an organization, but also the education and training providers who are willing to invest in and develop those courses, and also you who are potentially willing to pay for and subscribe to those courses and train as health coaches and enter this new chapter, which is really about a new profession that is health coaching, and about a new chapter for health and healthcare and the way we do health, deliver health in terms, nationally and even internationally. So our work is around approving those training courses and working with education providers, and that's really important to do. But we're also, the way we do that is we're asking for your input, health coaches on the ground. What do you do? How do you do it? And we want our standards to represent that. So we're constantly working to review our standards and improve our standards and make sure they reflect health coaching in practice. A big part of what we do is approving CPD provision. So my team, the standards team, spend a lot of time looking for good CPD and approving CPD applications, because as with any profession, when you graduate, that's just the beginning. And once you're in practice, in whatever context you choose or find to work in, you'll be wanting to continually develop yourself professionally, and you will need support in doing that. What type of CPD should I do? Is it good enough? And as with, is it appropriate? Does it respect my scope of practice? Does it understand what I'm doing? Is it in the right direction? So as with any new profession, an organization such as ourselves is key, in us, understanding those foundations and helping to set the compass in the right direction for the future, so that we're developing not just an initial health coach training, but actually looking forward to the future. What do you want to do after you've been working for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years as a health coach as your business has grown? Is there an advanced specialist space you'd like to be working in? So we're really keen to focus on developing career pathways for the health coach and for health coaching, and for ultimately for the clients, so they can be served well. So that's a really important part of what we do. So for all of you, this is just thinking about training or on a training course. This really is just the beginning. And that professional development happens not just through CPD, but through mentoring. So we offer group mentoring services as part of your membership if you're a full member or student member at the UK IHCA. And we are working on implementing a supervision service, so that there is a framework, a complete framework for the health coach from the beginning of training and on graduation to deliver to the best of abilities in the current landscape, with all the support that you could need from a professional perspective. Thank you, Isabella.
And just to add to that, Faye, that we also support students while they're still with their schools on student nights, and supporting them within the organisation, within the association.
Yeah, so we have a student mentoring session which is particularly for students only, which is really tailored to your needs, and we work really closely. I mean, I'm recognizing some names here this evening that I think I met earlier today when speaking with CNM. So hello again. So we really, you will have, you particularly will notice how closely we work with training providers to support you as you're going through your course, and work together to help make sure you get the encouragement you need, but also the confidence building and the professional support, so that when you graduate, you're really ready to practice, and you also have the opportunity to feel supported. So as you move from your training provider, who provides a community and a handhold, into another organisation which continues to help you along the way on your path.
Thanks, Faye.
So what are the standards? Just very briefly, so that you can start to understand how they're designed and how they sit, and you're very welcome to read through them on our website. The first pillar, A, is the education pillar, and this is really for the training providers, and it's asking them to ensure that they have robust and satisfactory provision in place. That's things like, are their faculty properly credentialed to deliver quality education? Are they delivering enough hours of the appropriate type? Are they addressing lots of different learning styles in the way they deliver education? Do they have proper policy and procedure as an education provider? Are they willing to get an accreditation? So we ask that they look to an external provider who can look at the academic level at which they're delivering and accredit and put a badge to that, to say, yes, this is meeting, for example, level 4 academic level or level 5 academic level, so that they're accredited courses. And then we have the coaching pillar, and here is where you will find some of the standards that relate to and are very similar to the general coaching qualifications, as you might find, for example, through an ICF training. So these are your fundamental coaching skills, but very firmly rooted in an evidence base found in the behavioral sciences and positive psychology and motivational interviewing. And crucially also included in the coaching pillar is this concept of integration. So how do I integrate helping a person develop their health literacy, the information to which they have access to, their whole health understanding, that framework? How do we integrate that into a coaching approach, and through a coaching approach, without stepping into the expert advisor? And that's really key, fundamental to understanding what a health coach is and what they do. Thank you, Isabella. So the health and well-being pillar, this is a very broad range of general health knowledge and information that we consider is an appropriate evidence-based background for a health coach to have. So this again is integrating the coaching skills with the health knowledge, and it is really helping the health coach not to be armed with this information so that they can tell clients what to do, but to be able to understand where their client might be at. And given that our current healthcare system globally is not currently set out or set up to be a whole health model, it is still very much a disease condition driven model, looking at symptoms. The pharmaceutical model sits still very highly in that space. So it's really important that the health coach understands and can navigate the environment which their client is finding themselves in terms of the health space. So that's all included in the health and well-being pillar, and it's a contextual understanding set of knowledge, range of knowledge, rather than a expert advice style of education that we're looking for. And it's very much set within and to be taught within the framework of a coaching training. And then the final pillar is professional practice. So how do we ensure ethical, legal and professional practice requirements are met and applied in a variety of contexts, ranging from employed health coaches to those in private practice. And these are just some standards which are really about how to be professional, what's required of a professional in a number of different contexts. And at the bottom of pillars B, C and D, so the coaching, the health and wellbeing pillar and the professional practice pillar, you'll see a section called performance criteria. And these sections really speak to what we consider or expect a person is able to do in terms of how they are able to perform when they have completed their health coach training. So it's really worth focusing on those because they're particularly relevant if you're interested in a portfolio route application. So if you're sitting here listening this evening and you haven't done a full approved health coach training course, but you have a lot of other qualifications that are very relevant to all the other pillars. Maybe you've done an ICF accredited coaching training. Maybe you're a healthcare professional that will have covered the health and wellbeing pillar through other qualifications and through your experience in other careers. You will want to be looking at the performance criteria because those are the criteria that we're asking people to meet as part of our portfolio route application. Thank you, Isabella. So if you are interested in training as a health coach, how would you even begin to think from a professional perspective, you know, what sort of course to choose or training to choose? So we say begin with your end in mind. What do you want to be doing? What's your career goal? Who do you want to work with? How do you want to work? So ensure that when you're choosing a training provider that you're looking to robust standards, both the UKI, HCA and other professional body recognition and potentially other accreditations such as an ICF accreditation or another coaching accreditation that might be included within a course. Look at the quality of the course. So who's teaching it? What are their learning frameworks? How are they teaching it? How are they assessing it? What material support are available to you? And be really confident to ask questions. If they're a professional organisation, they will be very happy to answer all your questions as detailed as they get. Really focusing on some live training. That's one of the core elements of our standards for education. We believe coaching is an experiential learning process. So we want to ensure that there is lots of live interaction, live online. So it's excellent and very useful to be watching recorded content and reading, of course, but really the core coaching training is to be live delivery. So you're interacting with other people, you're getting the chance to practice, you're getting the chance to experience health coaching. And also some courses have a particular niche or a particular strength. What is it you want to be doing? Have you an area of particular interest such as nutrition? Are you really clear that you want to build a strong business and you're going into private practice? Is mental health of an interest? Is physical activity of a particular interest? And more recently, you know, we've been talking about spirituality and the idea that health coaching is actually also ultimately a process of helping a person to engage in and develop their self-awareness, and it's a self-development journey. And often in the question, what's important to you? Why do you want to do this? That leads to some spiritual inquiry within the individual. And there are courses that are now really drawing out these elements of the whole health model, the emotional, the psychological and the spiritual meaning, purpose aspects of the whole health approach. So where's the focus of the course? We do have standards for education and training, but we don't have a curriculum. So whilst all the training providers who are approved UKI HCA courses have had to meet standards, there's creativity in how they do that. They can do that in a number of different ways, and they can choose to focus and emphasize particular areas. So ask about that, explore that. Are the courses set up for really serving people who want to work in the UK, or are they preparing you to work internationally? Where and how do you want to work? So that's a consideration. And what sort of course are you looking at? Is it a full course? Are you looking to develop your CPD? And what other approvals does that course have or accreditation? So these are sorts of some of the things you want to be thinking about. And anyone listening here this evening who is going through that process of making decisions about education and training, you're very welcome to contact me and the standards team with your inquiries and questions and support going forward with that. We welcome every pioneer that's passionate enough about health coaching to want to train and work in this space, and we want to support you all the way. Thanks, Isabella.
Thank you, Faye. That was excellent. Ines, would you like to talk about the work you do in cultivating community there?
I very much would. So following on from the initial introduction about community and how we pride ourselves on creating community, and if you've spoken to anybody who's a UKI HCA member, I hope that they've reflected that. In this short section, we just want to make the distinction between the UKI HCA and the health coaching community and the wider health coaching ecosystem. So the health coaching, so the hub is the UKI HCA member community that we've spoken about. But then beyond that, we are increasingly engaging with what we call the broader health coaching community. And this is because we are promoting the role of health coaches and health coaching, not just UKI HCA, but health coaching more broadly. We promote our individual members. We promote everything that Faye has just been talking about the standards, about scope of practice and code of conduct, and how those things have real value. And we're talking about those to the wider community. So we connect with, for example, all of those course providers that Faye and the standards team would be looking to connect with and network with in order to persuade them to submit their courses for approval as UKI HCA approved courses. I've spoken about networking events, so we attend many of the professional networking events within the health coaching fraternity in order to engage with other associations and other professional bodies and other health coaches. We do all of that to engender, as it says here, the feeling of belonging, and also, and importantly, to support, because as I've already mentioned, the majority of our, not all, but the majority of our members are sole traders or self-employed. And this will probably resonate with many of you. So it strikes me that many of our members have been on a journey. So they didn't kind of come out of university or a higher education deciding they were going to then further education into health coaching. They've had some kind of a life event. So whether that was a redundancy, an illness, an event in the family, maybe they become disillusioned with their previous career, and then they have found health coaching and thought, yep, this is something I'd like to retrain and do. But what you then find is that you are out on your own, or it can feel as if you're out on your own. So we do with a lot of energy into supporting not just our members, but the wider health coaching community, so that they feel supported, and ultimately want them to come into the fold. And as Faye mentioned very eloquently, we are about promoting professional standards, not just within UKI HCA, but within the broader profession of health coaching. So then beyond the health coaching community, we are increasingly looking at engaging with what we call the health coaching ecosystem. So what is that? Well, that can be the professional, beyond the individuals, the professional bodies, the associations, the experts, as it says here, the employers, educators. So all integrative lifestyle medicine practitioners. So that would be the sector that we would consider that's the pond that we're swimming in, and we're looking to engage with all other life forms within that pond. All other disciplines of coaching. So we open our doors and we engage and we talk to all the time life coaches, performance coaches. We, as I've already mentioned, and as Faye has spoken about, the education and training providers. Some because we want them to submit their courses, others because we want to learn from them. How can we improve what we do by looking at what they may have done previously in other practices or other professions that are more mature and that we should be looking to. Which leads on to the experts contributing partners and suppliers. So, for example, as a member of UKIHCA, one of the benefits is that we work very hard to try to secure discounts or special offers or unique elements of what a supplier might provide to a UKIHCA member, so that makes it more affordable. It makes it more specific to what they're doing. And we're always talking to suppliers, assessing what they do, how relevant and valuable is it to our members. Increasingly, we speak to employers. We would recognise that workplace wellbeing has got to be a hotspot to cultivate the growth of health coaching in delivering effective workplace wellbeing programs. So we're reaching out to members of CIPD, to employers themselves, managers, directors, to make the business case, which we'll talk about in a broader context in a minute in relation to the white paper. But I attended a webinar by an organisation called the World Wellbeing Movement, which I believe is actually based in Cambridge University, and they delivered a compelling webinar about the business case for workplace wellbeing. Right, in lifting productivity of up to 16%, which is really significant, and would more than pay for the investment in health coaches in workplace wellbeing. And educators, so not just the courses, but who's looking after those people that we expect to educate the workers of tomorrow, whether that's in schools, whether that's in universities, higher education colleges, or in services.
We're losing you a little bit.
You're already mentioned trips with other professional bodies.
Would you like to say that again, Innes? Because I think you froze a few times there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Where did I freeze from? I was just talking about educators.
Yeah, educators. Yeah.
Yeah, so we increasingly are speaking to educators because who's supporting those people who are educating the workforces of tomorrow. So whether that's in schools or universities, and this is where typically we might be talking about the supervision services and protecting people who are delivering education. And then finally, strategic partners. I've mentioned some of these already. A couple you may be less familiar with: UK Active and CIMSPA, which are from the physical activity sector, which is a sector that we are paying a great deal of attention to at the moment. Just to touch on that briefly. So a bit like health coaching, the physical activity sector would see itself as certainly being able to contribute to what we have termed the pivot or the move to health. So that's about health creation and improving health literacy. So we're working very hard to engage with and lobby UK Active, which is the Association for predominantly private health clubs, and CIMSPA, which is the Chartered Institute for Management of Sport and Physical Activity, which has a broader brief, is widely responsible for the education and training within that sector. And we're looking at ways to bridge the gap, because we firmly believe that if the physical activity sector would integrate with health coaching, the outcomes would be even greater than they are now. Thank you.
Okay, so we've obviously gone over this earlier, but just to remind you that, in terms of pursuing enterprise, many of the ideas and the information that Faye has shared with you and Innes has just shared with you in that previous slide is concerned with growing an enterprise. And again, just to reiterate that we are all about raising awareness in terms of our communication with the outside world, within the sector, across the industries, with lobbying, as we've talked about a few times now. We'll come on to a little bit more there. Public affairs, we have just appointed a member of our advisory panel who is a public affairs expert and will help us open doors with policymakers and other glitterati that we want to capture their ear and persuade them that they must do something about supporting people in the way that we're suggesting in our white paper. And of course, as Innes has said, increasingly we are going to we have either a exhibition stand, or we go as delegates to a wide range of external conferences in other sectors now, because we see it's very important that, I mean, we have got a 360-degree audience, so we have to be everywhere explaining about the power of health coaching and the value of our really wonderfully trained members. Job opportunities, we have just launched a new health coach recruitment collaboration, which we'll be talking more about in social media. So this is a specific organisation who is going to make a lot of noise about how to recruit a health coach and what kinds of health coaches employers will want to be asking to come for interview. And again, we've said again and again, it is all about this cross-industry, cross-sector collaboration of partnerships with health, physical activity sector, the employment sector, the education sector, and increasingly with communities and advocacy groups. Because at the end of the day, healthcare, the way we deliver primary care, is very much changing, going away from the GP practice model to doing it in the community and with the community, and that includes the special advocacy groups. And we are absolutely behind that move, and there will be huge opportunities there for health coaches going forward. Oh, no, I've gone the wrong way.
That was funny. You said going forward and then you went backwards.
Backwards, yeah, I don't know how that happened. So here we go. Innes, would you like?
So at this stage, we thought you probably heard enough from us just for a few moments. So we'd like to share the perspectives of 4 members of UKI-HCA who are approved health coaches members, and to understand how they perceive UKI-HCA.
Hi, why did I become a health and wellbeing coach? I would like a nice, long, healthy life. And I've seen that lots of people that do that live in blue zones. Blue zones aren't in the UK, and I don't really think I can go and live in these other places. So I would like to make my part of the UK a blue zone. And I can't do that on my own. So that's why I learned to become a health coach, or became a health coach, and that's why I have joined the UKI-HCA to help me in my vision, help me in my dream of making my part of the UK a blue zone.
Hi there, my name is Joanna Surety. I'm an accredited health coach and also the ambassador for company wellness for the UKI-HCA. I qualified as a health coach back in 2017. I did a course with HCI, and at that time I was an operations director for a software startup. The reason I took the course wasn't actually as a career move, it was just to do something a bit different. I was very burnt out at work, and I decided I wanted to do something a bit different with my spare time, even though I had a little child at the time. But I've always been really interested in health and wellness, and did some Google searches on things to study and came across health coaching. And as an HR professional, coaching kind of is a natural bedfellow. So I thought, well, why not? However, as I got into the course, I found that actually it started to spark a little bit of interest and intrigue into whether or not I could do this as a career. And I really enjoyed it enough to think, yeah, I probably could. So I completed the course in 8 months, and in 2019, I left my job to full-time health coach. And over that time, I've been active in building my business. So I work largely into corporates, supporting employees that are stressed or burnt out or have poor sleep, and helping them with their lifestyle and mindset to improve things. I became a member of UKI HCA following my course completion. My course was accredited, and I decided to join the association for two reasons, really. Firstly, it can be quite isolating being a coach on your own. So to have a community around me of people that I could ask questions to and have some support from was something that I was really seeking. And secondly, I think just to have that credibility behind you, to keep your CPD up, but also the standards that are expected if you're a health coach being accredited and going into the corporate space. I think that is something which I like to stand behind in terms of my credibility and also my expertise. So that's a little bit about me. Thanks for listening.
Hi everyone, my name's Faye and I'm a health coach. So why did I choose to be a health coach? It's really because health coaching really aligns with my own values, which are to help others, to be able to work with others and to work collaboratively, and really to work in a way that's where I can be creative and have flexibility. Another reason is that I've benefited myself from health coaching, having gone from someone that's stressed to someone that can manage that stress. And thirdly, I love the fact that it's personalized, so it's really about the client's needs and what they want rather than telling them what to do. So I really think that's a really positive part of health coaching. And why did I join UKHCA? Well, I was trying to be a health coach for some time, but really didn't know how to run my own business. So by joining an association that are really aligned to my own values, it's been so beneficial. Learned so much, and it's really helped me to break down the steps I need to take to grow my business more by helping with things like marketing and selling, all kinds of webinars that have really been very relevant to where I'm at. So thank you, UKHCA.
Hi everyone, my name is Anastasia. I'm research associate at UKHCA. I'm doing some volunteering for this amazing organization, and today I'm going to share with you how I got into health coaching. So my journey into this fascinating industry started when I was doing my qualification in nutrition, and very quickly I realized that all the advice is great, but to commit to your goals, to really do stuff, you need more than that. And that's where I got interested in behavior change, motivational interviewing, and all the other elements of health coaching. But as I always I like to go deep into topics. So I started looking and researching what course I can do to basically really nail this skill. Because health coaching, I think it is sort of skill that you need to practice and to nail it basically. So that's how I found UKHCA, and I very quickly realized that the courses that were approved by them are really high standard and really get you to not only learn the theory but also the practice and so on and so forth. So I found one of the courses that I liked and completed it. So I was the first student member with UKHCA, and during my studies I found it quite useful to connect with others, but also the resources that are available to students, which is amazing. And because I was studying online, it can be lonely sometimes, so it was nice network of people that I got to connect with. So that's how I got into health coaching. So when it came to joining as a full member, it was a no-brainer really, because there are a lot of resources, a lot of nice people who are also members, and the organization itself is inspiring. And I think health coaching has a lot of future perspective, and for the industry as it is, and for people practicing it, for people as well who are like general population, what we can do as health coaches for them is invaluable. And once I saw an email from UKHCA asking if there would be people interested in volunteering, and I again, it was a no-brainer. I really wanted to help because I believe that this industry needs more awareness around itself, and there's a lot that can be done to sort of further support this industry and integrate it into healthcare. And yeah, so it was again no-brainer. And so far, really amazing experience. Everybody's so kind, and a lot of opportunities to develop various skills. And yeah, really love being part of the team and wider community.
So after this event, you'll all receive a copy of the recording, and on that you can then follow this link, which will take you to a form. If you're interested in expressing an inquiry in membership, you can fill out the form. If you can't wait until the recording arrives in your inbox, you can just go to the website and just look at how to join UKIHCA, and there's pages and pages of information about the different membership categories and benefits. So I strongly urge you to do that.
Thanks, Ines. So I'm going to pretty much speed through the remaining slides because we are now at 8:20 and we want to leave some time to answer the questions. And I do see that some, oh dear, I think there's quite a few questions have come up in chat. So forgive me if I speed through these, but really I wanted you to see that healthcare as we go on is getting joined up. It may not seem like it, but it is. We have integrative medicine, which is a very broad concept of integrating all kinds of modalities which are not part of the conventional portfolio of and toolbox. We have lifestyle medicine, which is all about sleeping, movement, stress management, dropping behaviours that put you at risk, you know, risky behaviours such as alcohol consumption and maybe smoking, and looking at that whole lifestyle aspect of what can we do for ourselves. And of course the NHS is very much focused on person-centred care and working very hard to try and respond to the unique experiences of an individual. And we see health coaching to be right at the centre of that relationship. So it is all about joined up healthcare. And in this little graphic, we've said, and we're very proud that to believe and to feel and to have evidence really that health coaching is the beating heart of personalised lifestyle and integrative medicine, and all those modalities you see in the green circle. Health coaching and supported self-care, which is fundamental really to the health coaching proposition, as Faye has pointed out and explained earlier. It is very much how we see it really. That is the picture, that's the sum and total really of what we do and how we contribute to others' professions. So there are synergies. We've heard all of these words about person-centred, personalised, patient-led, values, strengths, preferences. I'll let you just look at that because it's self-evident that this health coaching is absolutely written into each of these bullet points. And again, another way of saying this is that health coaching, lifestyle medicine and person-centred care have a very close relationship. Ines, would you like to quickly?
So our feeling on that is so strong that, led by Isabella, we felt compelled to let the rest of the world know more about it. And that's why we wrote the recent white paper, which was published in December, and you will have seen promoted in all social media channels. If by chance you have missed that, that you can go to the website ukihca.com, and on the home page there's a form you can fill in to download the white paper. And if you haven't read it, I urge you to do so following this. But that, fundamentally, the purpose of the white paper is to raise the awareness for the profession of health coaching, explain what health coaching is as we've set out here, and importantly set out the case for integrating health coaching, because as we've seen, we believe that it is, as Isabella describes, the hand in the glove, or the third leg of the stool, as we've already seen. And we believe that it is an absolute enabler to achieving what we call population health, which is the lowest possible denominator in improving the health of the population. And in the white paper, we make numerous practical recommendations as to how that might happen. So again, I'm probably leave you to read this, apart from to say we're very, very pleased that Lord James Bethell, who is an advocate of health initiatives, and he's also a supporter of innovative moves in terms of improving population health. He's put his weight behind the white paper by writing the foreword, which I urge you to read. And as I've already explained, it sets out all of these things within that documentation. So just to make you aware of the fact that there's already more than one version. So there's the full version. So if you want to read it chapter and verse, look out for the cover that's on your left. And then the rather neat graphic in the center kind of encapsulates everything that the white paper is about. So we believe that there is a need for an integrative policy framework. We set out what that could be and why health coaching should be, as it is in this graphic, at the center of that to enable it. And then it sets out the recommendations that we've spoken about. And then if you see this graphic on the right, which is the pain point and solutions, that's the edited highlights. It's the executive summary that has the real punch points. So if you haven't got time to read the full document, then look out for the pain points and solutions, because it's well, you'll get through sooner is the point.
Although, thank you, Innes. Although I would say to guests here this evening, if you are new to health coaching and you're not, and you still want more information and you'd like to understand what the difference between general coaching and health coaching and how health coaching in the NHS works, then please do read the full paper because we set all of that out. I won't talk about this too much. This is the comprehensive personalised care model that the NHS favours, and it really underpins so much of their work. In the white paper, we go into great detail of how at every level, from at the bottom of that pyramid, the whole population, to the 30% of people with longer term physical and mental health conditions, to the 5% of people with complex needs, how if you look on the interventions and the outcomes, health coaching fits into every single one of those categories and can support every person in those populations. So I'll leave you to ponder on that when you receive this recording, and also when you download the white paper that goes into more detail, sets out all the recommendations that apply to all of those levels. Okay, so I think we're on to Innes now.
Yeah, so just to say, and really to amplify what Faye was talking about earlier, which is presumably the reason that you would consider training as a health coach is because you expect to be able to make a living out of it, or at least have it as an occupation. So where do health coaches work? And the good news is they work in a variety of environments and applications. So there are private and group practice, in lifestyle, functional and integrative medical practices where they may be contracted or they may be employed. In the NHS, there are already more than 1,500 health coaches. I was just looking at the chat developing there. So yeah, if you weren't aware, the NHS does employ health and well-being coaches, and that's a number that has grown significantly, and we applaud the initiative of the NHS. Through the ICBs in community settings, as we've already mentioned, growing rapidly within the corporate workplace wellbeing environment, which wouldn't be a surprise because those organisations have the funds, and there's a commercial model that makes sense of employing health coaches, and increasingly within the insurance sector. So we are talking amongst others across sectors. We're talking to some of the largest insurance companies and helping them to integrate health coaching into their service delivery. So there is lots of opportunity.
And for sure. So Faye, would you like to just embellish that a little bit?
Yes, certainly. Sorry, I'm deeply engrossed in responding in the chat, which is where a conversation is developing along these lines. So yes, there are so many opportunities for health coaches. And I think what I'd like to say very briefly on this point is we do have to find them and seek them out. They're not, there in black and white. There's not a list somewhere of all the different jobs that are available right now for a health coach. So we have to look for them. We have to talk to people. We have to be creative in finding those opportunities. As part of the standards review process that we're currently going through, we are talking to a number of different health coaches working in different environments, and what is naturally evolving and what we're supporting through career progression pathways, through standards and through CPDs, is the idea of communities of practice in specialist areas and specialist health sectors. So if you start to look and you start to research, you will find that there are health coaches that specialize in working with people who are experiencing overweight and obese. There are health coaches who specialize in working with people who have had a diagnosis of cancer. And we have lots of CPD developing in this area. We're approving lots of CPD at the moment because it is an expanding space, unfortunately, because now 1 in 2 of us will experience a diagnosis. I'm sure many of us have been touched by cancer, either directly or indirectly through people we know and love in our life. So as going back to that pyramid idea that 100% of the population could benefit from health coaching, whatever the diagnosis and condition, that means that there are roles emerging for health coaches supporting different people experiencing different conditions, and the sort of themes and similarities that might turn up in those spaces, and the specialist knowledge and specialist coaching skills that may be required. Growing work in the corporate space. I don't need to say too much here, but just any of you who are in the corporate space or have experienced it will know that it's tough, that well-being is an issue, that burnout can be an issue. So delivery of health coaching in the corporate space has so many positive benefits to be had. I was talking to somebody just today who is a full member of the UK IHCA and is on our directory. So one of your key membership benefits is you are listed, registered on our directory, where people can search you and search, well-trained health coaches if you've done an approved full course and you appear on that listing. And they were approached by a corporate who was looking for a health coach and have today obtained a consultancy through that space. So there are lots of growing opportunities there. I myself am I'm also practicing as a health coach, and I'm part of an integrated practice. So I work with nutritional therapists and clinicians who already have clinics and are working with clients, and I attach to that and they refer to me as their health coach. So there's lots of career opportunities that build on or fit into existing medical, clinical and healthcare settings in a variety of ways. And digital health is going to be huge. It is already, and telemedicine is huge. So there's a huge number of growing opportunities for working alongside a digital tool or on a digital platform as the human health coach working alongside that technology. And you know, we've had a conversation about NHS health and wellbeing coaches and the R scheme on the chat, and here again, this supporting digital health companies is another space where there's growing number of opportunities, and both those give you a great space in which to just gain lots and lots of experience. You will get, you know, a client base in your hands after graduation if you pursue that kind of opportunity and employment, and you will get a very quick introduction to what it's like to manage a huge caseload without having to do your own marketing and set up your own business, which is very appealing for some health coaches. Group coaching is a very important niche or specialist skill that is introduced to all health coaches who take an approved course, a UKI HCA approved course. And there are a number of benefits that have been demonstrated to a group coaching approach, including the camaraderie and the learning that happens from each other, and the accountability that comes through that, and also the cost effectiveness. So that's a really important space to look for opportunities. Wellness workshops and retreats are also a really nice place to work. Slightly different concept, but delivering the same process or the same health coaching. And it's also, of course, you could graduate from a health coaching course and you might not necessarily want to be a health coach working one-to-one or in groups. You might want to use that as a springboard for writing, for podcasting, for becoming a public speaker, for becoming an advocate, you know, working alongside Isabella, spreading awareness across the globe. So there was also mention of community initiatives, and I think that's also something that is going to really, really flourish because it's a natural space. The community and education space is a natural space for health coaching to sit. And of course, physical activity. We all know what a personal trainer is. We probably all know the value of physical activity. If we could bring coaching skills and a coaching approach into that space, what a wonderful marriage that would be. And certainly there's opportunities growing there. So we have run out of time, so I'm going to say no more. But if anyone there's been most of the questions, I think, in the chat I have answered, Isabella. And so I just want to encourage anyone who wants to reach out, who wants to talk more, who has further questions, to email us, be in touch. We want to get to know you.
Thank you. Thanks, Faye. So just to summarise, here's health coaching in the centre of the universe, of course, as far as we're concerned. So all of those labels and concepts there, we have covered those in our white paper, and we absolutely stand by the fact that health coaching is the foundational plank, the beating heart, the enabler, but basically the centre of the future of medicine, really, of proactive, preventive health, and supporting people to not only avoid sickness and create health, but to regain, often and even reverse, with clinical support, their conditions. So there has never been a better time to be a health coach. We encourage you to explore further. We encourage you to visit the website, read what we have there, download the white paper, be inspired by the possibilities that you will see and the potential that exists, and to join us, really, join us in that mission to see a thriving, happy, healthy population of which you are part and to which you are contributing for the future of our planet, really. So it's transformational. We've got, we transform patients' and clients' health outcomes. We transform health professionals' practice. Every clinical professional who has come into the health coaching space has never looked back. Some have even left their original expertise and taken off their expert hat to actually work as a health coach primarily. And it delivers patient-centered, preventive and proactive healthcare. What more can we ask for from this powerful discipline? So please join us in the transformation, and we'll see you on the other side.
Just to recap, there's the link. In fact, what there is in the link is, if you're not already a health coach, there's a short questionnaire just to understand what your interest is. So that would be interesting. But as I say, when you've received the recording, you can join that link. If you can't wait until then, which might be a couple of days, just go to ukihca.com, look across the top, click on the tab which says Join UKIHCA, and you'll see information about each of the categories that we've spoken about.
Okay, so I'm stopping sharing now. And we are a little bit over time, but we've had so much to tell you about, so much to encourage you with. So I'm so pleased that you've stayed with us. And is there anybody that hasn't asked a question, Faye, or that we haven't answered here in the chat?
I believe we have answered all the questions as they've come in. If there's anything that you would like to continue talking about, or you feel we haven't answered fully enough, I've dropped my email in several times. I would absolutely be delighted to hear from you. I will also check the transcript of the chat tomorrow and make sure that there's nothing we've missed, but I think we've covered everything.
Okay, so what you will receive, is Nadia, are you putting your hand up to ask a question? No. Okay. So you will receive a recording, which will obviously include the slideshow, but we'll also send a copy of the chat, Faye, so that those who haven't seen the chat or were so mesmerised by our presentation that they missed some of your pearls of wisdom, don't miss out at all. With that, unless there's anybody that is desperate to say something, we wish you all a very good evening, and thank you for being here with us this evening. And we hope to see all of you often at our events and joining us in our community and this powerful profession. So thank you very much, and good evening to you.